So, you want to learn AI, but let's be real, where do you even start? It feels like there are a million different options out there. Well, today, we're going to cut right through all that noise. I'm going to walk you through a single, curated roadmap that'll take you from a complete beginner to an expert, all based on 4 years of real, hands-on experience in the field.
If you've ever found yourself scrolling through endless AI courses, books, and YouTube videos, just feeling completely overwhelmed, you are definitely not alone. It's a crazy, fast-moving world out there. But that doesn't mean your learning path has to be chaotic. We're about to lay out a super clear, structured plan to get you from the absolute basics right to the cutting edge of AI. So, let's dive in.
Okay, here's our game plan. We'll start with the bedrock skills, the stuff you absolutely have to know. Then we'll get into mastering core machine learning. From there, we'll push right into the frontier, deep learning. After that, we'll talk about how to take your code and actually put it into production, and we'll wrap it all up with what I think is the most important piece, having the right mindset for lifelong learning.
All right, first things first. Before you can even think about building those super sophisticated AI models, you need a rock-solid foundation. And that foundation? It's built on 2 pillars, programming and math. Now, this isn't the most glamorous part of the journey, I get it, but trust me, it is the most critical.
So, where do you kick things off with programming? The answer, without a doubt, is Python. Yeah, sure, some high-end AI engineering jobs might use stuff like Rust or Go, but Python is the undisputed lingua franca of machine learning. I mean, the entire ecosystem, all the libraries, the tools, the infrastructure, it's all built around Python. That's not changing anytime soon. It is absolutely the place to start.
This quote right here, this captures the entire philosophy. You can watch 1,000,000 courses and read 100 books, but the single best teacher you will ever have is practice. The point of all these resources is to learn the fundamentals, sure, but your real education? That starts the second you stop watching and start building something yourself.
And to get you started, here are some absolute top-tier resources. If you want a quick launch, Free Code Camp has this fantastic 4-hour intro that gets you going fast. For a deeper dive, Python for Everybody on Coursera is pretty much legendary. Once you've got the basics down, you got to put those skills to the test on places like HackerRank or LeetCode. And, if you're coming in completely fresh to programming, Harvard CS50 is simply the best introduction to computer science, period.
Now for that second pillar, math. And I know, some people will tell you that you don't really need to know what's going on under the hood anymore since you're just using pre-built models. But look, if your goal is to be a top-tier practitioner, that's just not going to cut it. Understanding the math underneath is what separates the people who just use the tools from the people who can actually innovate.
But here's the good news. You don't need a full-blown math degree. This huge, intimidating field of mathematics for AI really just boils down to these 3 essential areas. You need statistics, so you can understand data and uncertainty. You need linear algebra, which is basically the language of data and neural networks. And you need calculus, because that's what powers how these models actually learn and get better.
And you can cover all 3 of those areas with just a handful of really targeted resources. Practical Statistics for Data Scientists is amazing because it's all about application with code examples in Python. The Mathematics for Machine Learning textbook is a super comprehensive guide for your linear algebra and calculus. And hey, if you're more of a course person, the specialization from deeplearning.ai was literally made for this field.
Okay, foundation is in place. Now we can get to the fun stuff, core machine learning. When we say AI today, a lot of people think of generative AI. But all of that is built on decades of machine learning principles. Understanding this engine is absolutely crucial.
I mean, if there is one resource to rule them all in this entire section, this is it. The recommendation here couldn't be clearer. This is the single most important book you could possibly own for your career. It's called Hands-On Machine Learning, and it covers literally everything from the fundamentals to really advanced topics.
So here's the full toolkit. The Hands-On ML book, that's your Bible. Then you've got Andrew Ng's Machine Learning Specialization on Coursera. It's a classic, it's been revamped, and it's fantastic for both theory and practice. The 100-page machine learning book is just a perfect little high-level reference to have around. And for those of you who really want to go deep, like really deep on the theory, The Elements of Statistical Learning is a dense, traditional classic.
All right, now we're arriving at the frontier. This is where modern, generative AI lives. Deep learning is the engine that's powering everything from ChatGPT to image generators, and this section is all about getting under the hood and understanding how it all works. Before you can dive in, you have to pick a framework, and this chart really tells the whole story. While TensorFlow is definitely still out there, PyTorch is just completely dominating the research world. We're talking over 3/4 of research papers, and it's what most of the models on Hugging Face use. The trend is undeniable. You got to start with PyTorch.
Now, if you want the ultimate hands-on experience, you have to check out Andrei Karpathy's Zero to Hero course. Seriously, this isn't just a course, it's more like an apprenticeship. You literally start by building a simple neural net with raw Python, and by the time you're done, you will have built a full GPT, the kind of model that powers modern chatbots, from scratch. It is tough, but the level of understanding you get is just incredible.
So, your deep learning toolkit should look something like this. Start with Andrew Zanah's specialization to get the fundamentals down, things like convolutional and recurrent neural networks. Then, get the big picture view with Karpathy's 1-hour Intro to LLMs video. After that, you dive deep and build a model from scratch in his Zero to Hero course. And for a great book to have on hand, Hands-on Large Language Models, it's probably the most intuitive guide out there right now.
So having all this knowledge is amazing, right? But the real value, especially in the industry, it comes from one thing: getting these models deployed into production where they can actually create business value. This is the world of the AI engineer.
And it's really important to understand how this role is changing. The modern AI engineer isn't so much a research scientist building new models from scratch anymore. They're much closer to a software engineer. The job today is all about taking these incredibly powerful existing foundation models, like Llama or Claude, and building the products and the infrastructure around them.
To really master this side of things, there are 2 books you absolutely need. Practical MLOps teaches you the real backbone of shipping solutions. We're talking skills like using Docker to package up your code so it can run anywhere, and working with cloud systems. And for the big picture, the definitive guide is Designing Machine Learning Systems by Chip Huon, who is a total legend in this space.
We have covered a ton of ground, and I know it can seem pretty intimidating. So let's end on what is truly the most important piece of this whole puzzle: your mindset. This is a journey, it's not a sprint, and you do not have to master everything all at once.
The key takeaway here, the one thing I really want you to remember, is don't get paralyzed by how many resources there are. Your goal isn't to read every single word of every textbook. No, your goal is to pick one thing, learn what's relevant for what you want to build, and then immediately go and apply it. That active, hands-on application, that is where the real learning happens. I'm going to leave you with this perfect summary from Andrei Karpathy on how to become an expert. Number 1, learn by doing. Take on real projects and see them through. Number 2, solidify what you know by teaching it to someone else, in your own words. And number 3, and this might be the most important one of all, the only person you should ever be competing with is yourself from yesterday. Now go out there and happy learning.